Hi, I'm Annie Botticelli, and this is the Storyteller Forecast for Capricorn for October 2016. Go to my website, anniehelpsyou.com, see what's new on my blog, and if you're interested in activating and bringing forth your highest vision of your future self now into reality, check out my Spiritual Warrior Weekend. I have a live event in Sarasota, Florida. You can also attend virtually if you can't make it, where I can assist you in seeing that future self that you want to evolve into and activating it, bringing that into now. So check it out. What's going on in October? We've got a crazy month. I'm going to go into lots of general transits after I do our focus on Cappy stuff first. I promised last month that I would talk about Jupiter moving into a different sign, because that means it's also moving to a different house and bringing its expansion and luck and benevolence into a new sector of your life. It also turns out that there are short-term energies in this same 10th house that Jupiter is moving into for you. And so it makes it a perfect topic for the month of October, because it's active for all Cappies in October and a long-term theme that's beginning for you over the next year. The early degree Capricorn, so if your birthday is, if you're like a December born or like up to January 1st Cap, or if you have between 0 and 9 degrees for your rising sign, if you're watching for your rising sign, you early placements are going to have Jupiter expanding in full glory into your 10th house. The middle degree placements, you might start feeling waves of this coming, but it's going to be several months before this starts to really activate for you. And you later degree placements, okay, so the middle degree placements are between 10 and 19 degrees for your rising, or like January 2nd through the 11th for your birthday. And the later degree placements, so around the 12th through the rest of the sign, it's going to take well into next year before this really activates for you. But be excited about it, know it's coming, and understand the energy. Also, it's really good idea for you to go to my website, anniehelpsyou.com, and check out my Jupiter blog. If you click on astrology, go to anniehelpsyou.com, click on astrology, click on blog, or actually click on blog, click on astrology, and then do a search on the bottom right for Jupiter. Then I've gone into great details about Jupiter moving through the different houses. And so early, middle, and late degree placements, you can get the sneak peek for the 10th house. The middle and late degree placements, you can see more about Jupiter still acting in your 9th house, which I'll get into this as well. So again, there's short-term energy in the 10th house and long-term energy in the 10th house. So what is the 10th house? The 10th house has to do with your career and work and life purpose. So Jupiter wants to bring a major boost to this area of your life. Sometimes the way Jupiter works is that it has to bring up problems or issues or expand or amplify things that are in the way of you getting the expansion that you want, so that you can rectify those problems and experience the expansion. And that can make it seem like Jupiter's making things worse sometimes, but that's only for the purpose of bringing it right in your face so that you can clear up the things that are in the way and enjoy the expansion. One of the biggest themes for Cappies at this point, and the theme to come, is to plant as many seeds as possible. And I'm smiling big thinking of one of my favorite Cappies who actually is a gardener and does gardening projects. And so, you know, this idea of planting seeds might actually be literal for you. But in the cases where it's not, understanding that Jupiter adds to. So when Jupiter's moving through the 10th house, it wants to add to your work. So that can come in the form of raises, promotions, an expanded audience, expanded acknowledgement. It can come in the form of becoming an authority, like stepping into your authority role or being an actual authority on something. It can also help you feel like you are on track in your life. When Jupiter brings its optimism and its benevolence into the area of life of your work and your life purpose, it can make you feel like you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, or at least on your way to doing what you're supposed to be doing. It can definitely also involve a move for better career opportunities. When Jupiter crosses over that 10th house cusp, that's going to be different for each of you depending on where your placement is, but it opposes the 4th house, so often it can cause a move for a better work opportunity, or cause a little more focus on work, which might cause a little bit more challenge at home because it's hard to divide yourself. So this energy of of adding to with Jupiter in the 10th house also can come in the form of side business projects or side jobs. So maybe you have your work, your job, and then you're trying to do something on the side to maybe hopefully bring it into your main job in the future, or just because it's a hobby, or just because you feel like it or you can. But it's not a time to play small, and it's not a time to play few or super focused. It's a time to plant seeds. So if you ever thought, oh, I'd like to do this, maybe plant a seed for that. Maybe I'd like to do this, plant a seed for that, because Jupiter runs in a 12-year cycle. So any seeds that you plant during the time that Jupiter is in this 10th house, for the next 12 years after this seed planting spree, there's a chance for any of those seeds to grow, not just in the time when Jupiter was actually in that house. So that's why you want to get your fingers in a lot of pudding pies, as I think of it, like thinking of kids when people are baking, they're like going and tasting all the pies. And that's what it's like. You want to try different things on, you want to plant seeds in as many areas as possible. Now, for those of you who have middle to late degree placements, so basically the January, most of the January born placements, or from around 10 degrees to 29 for your rising, you still have Jupiter's benevolence in your 9th house, and Jupiter rules the 9th house. So whenever a planet is in the house it rules, it's really happy there. It's expanded just in this blazing, crazy, fiery way. People will often report more synchronicities, or the feeling like they're being guided by something greater than themselves. This is amplified and magnetized and magnified during the time when Jupiter is in the 9th house, feeling connected to your higher power, feeling that there's a reason for everything, feeling expansive. The energy of Sagittarius, which is in this 9th house, has to do with big perspectives, the bigger picture, and growing and evolving and expanding as a person, And so you might find that before you get up to where you're really expanding your work, you're interested in learning a lot of different things that eventually is going to help you to show up in the world in a bigger way. And that's by design. Jupiter moves through the 9th house first, gets you interested in, expanding the things you need to, so that it can expand your work and your place in the world after that transit. So if you're still in this phase where there's, track being laid for your zooming railroad blaze forward, then just be patient with it, The 9th house also rules different countries, different cultures, different languages. So doing anything on an expanded nature, getting out of the box, or actual traveling to long distances or exotic places. Anything involving teaching, learning, publishing is all under the 9th house domain. So these are the things that I have most in mind for you, specifically for Capricorn stuff. There's a whole slew of activity, just craziness going on for the general transits that will absolutely affect you. So I'm going to go into the details of the themes and stories and lessons and opportunities for October for the general astrology now. I'm calling the theme of October Intense Impetus for New Birth. So we know whenever we birth something, whether it's an actual child or whether it's a creative project or whether it's a new dimension of an experience, anything new often will come with birthing pains. And this month is full of opportunities to have birthing pains, or also described as the pressure that it either takes to step into a new experience, or the pressure it takes to birth something into the tangible dimension, into the this reality, the third dimension. So there are awesome opportunities for launches, for new things coming in. And actually, this is the first month in all of 2016, starting on October 7th and running through around December 2nd, the first few days in December, that we don't have a personal planet retrograde or a shadow interfering with a launch. There have been a couple of other launch phases that I've recommended this year, but neither of those two main phases were completely clear of retrogrades. But we do have to have some time before this time now in October where we were doing some things, launching new things. But this is the period of time now that it's wide open from the perspective of the personal planets being clear of retrograde. So this month is just like such a mixed bag because it has some beautiful aspects, actually even starting at the end of September. September 26th is the first one. I'll go into that. And straight through the end of the month, October 30th is my favorite day of the month for birthing, which I'll get more into that as well. But in between all of those openings for pushing things forth, moving things along, there is a lot of pressure and opposition, challenges. Sometimes it's the challenge, the opposite, that the thing opposing us, that actually creates the intense impetus to do something different. And so we get comfortable in our lives and in circumstances, and sometimes it's easier to just let things be than it is to rock the boat in a way that you would have to be able to create a new life, to birth a project, to birth a new dimension of reality. So this month, it seems like it's completely astrologically designed to bring that pressure that's necessary for the new birth. So if you have brought something out at the end of September, or if you're preparing to launch something, just know you might have a little bit of touch and go before the energy is more clear. The energy gets more clear in November, or actually starting October 30th. So I'll give you some good dates that I really like for launching things. And know that if you sign up for my free email newsletter on my website, anniehelpsyou.com, that you get a more detailed review of the month ahead in writing, along with more dates and things that go on in those dates, and good dates and challenging dates, etc. So I'm giving you some summaries of some of the points here, but you can get more access to that a month ahead of time by signing up for my free newsletter. Okay, so October 1st, we have, well, actually, backtrack. September 26th is one of the most wonderful days of the year for expansion, growth, benevolence, luck. It just happens to be that we're kind of fresh off of Mercury going direct on September 22nd. So it's going to be a great launch date, but I'm putting some conditions in there. If you're launching something that is a relaunch, is a phase of something that is a short-term phase, is addressing something short-term, is like a leg of a journey or a piece of something, then September 26th is fabulous. If it's something that this is the unveiling, the first time someone is ever seeing it, you might want to wait until that October 30th date if you can help it, or at least into October, because you want that Mercury retrograde energy to be more clear when you're launching something for the first time or something long-term. Sometimes we fall under this misconception that you can't do anything in Mercury retrograde or shadow, and that's not true. You can do plenty of things, and you can check out my Mercury retrograde video to see more about that. But the things it mostly dictates is short-term ventures and legal contracts. That you want to avoid is long-term ventures and legal contracts, because the energies are murky and they're subject to change. So that's why I say if you've got something that's like a leg of a journey or something like that for a launch, then September 26th is amazing. Also, ultimately, you always have to trust your intuition and your own flow, because there are sometimes, very often, that personal transits in your personal chart will supersede things in the general transits, so that's a very important thing to note always when you're listening to astrological dates and forecasts. So September 26th is an amazing day. October 1st is another awesome day. Venus in Pisces is making a trine, which is the most favorable angle in astrology, to Neptune in Pisces, and that brings amazing healing and artistic, anything having to do with healing, the healing arts, or artistic expression, and Venus, which rules love, beauty, and money. So that's a sweet angle. October 26th, we have Venus in Sag making a 60-degree angle to Jupiter in Libra. And a 60-degree angle is a favorable angle, but it's one that you often have to do something to activate its full glory. Sometimes trines will come and you can activate the energy as well, but sometimes they'll just bring blessings without you having to do much. But the 60-degree angle that we have on October 26th really wants some sort of action. So Venus combined with Jupiter is like love, beauty, money in a beautiful angle to expansion and growth and luck. So that's a sweet day. my favorite day of the month, and mark this with a big star on your calendar, is October 30th. We have a new moon at 18 degrees of Scorpio. This new moon is conjunct Mercury, and it also trines Neptune. So we've had a lot of new moons this year that have sort of been conflicted or afflicted with their energies because there were difficult angles going on at the same time. And you do have some challenging energy the days before the new moon, but by the time the new moon comes, most of that should be clear. So it's a really great launching pad for anything. You're free of the Mercury retrograde shadow at the beginning of the month. You're free of the challenging angles that dance throughout the month. And so it's just a really nice time. Okay, so there are more dates that I give in my newsletter that are good dates with some more details there too. So some dates that will likely come with growing or birthing pains or challenges are October 5th, the 15th and 16th, the 19th, and the 28th, 29th. And again, like I said, there are more challenging dates throughout the month of October, which you can see the full list when you sign up for my newsletter, but I don't have time to go into all of them. There are just so many. So October 5th, we have Mars in Capricorn squaring Jupiter in Libra. When these planets come together in this angle, it can often lead to overpromising or having overpromised something and not being able to deliver it, or some sort of overextension of action or will. It could also manifest as obstacles in the way of you trying to do something. Mars is action, and when Jupiter is making a difficult angle, it's like you don't have the great expander on your side. It's being antagonistic. So you'll see some things come up there. October 15th and 16th, it's just like a powerhouse of challenge. I think that challenge can be a very, very, very positive thing. So the way I frame challenges, especially if you are being accountable for your own happiness, if you are taking responsibility for the quality of your experience, we can't control the things that will happen always, right? Very often it's completely out of our control, certain destined events. However, we can control the quality of our experience. And when we have challenges, it often causes us to activate that aspect of free will that we have in our charts and stand up for it and do something about it. And sometimes that takes pressure. So on October 15th and 16th, we have this is a yearly event. The Sun opposes Uranus. That makes a 180-degree angle, and it is a challenging angle. So things can come up that can be jostling, erratic people or inconsistencies interfering with something you're trying to do. Mercury is also squaring Pluto, so power figures, someone using their power not in a good way. That could be interfering with your personal expression. And October 16th, we have a full moon at 23 degrees of Aries, and this is a supermoon. This is the fourth supermoon of the year. We have 6 supermoons this year. A supermoon is when the moon is closer to the earth, and you can see it because the moon actually looks bigger. You ever look in the sky and say, whoa, the moon looks huge. It's like right there. That's a supermoon. And we're more affected by everything that the moon affects when there's a supermoon. The gravitational pull on the earth and its inhabitants are increased dramatically when the moon comes closer, especially when it comes into its fullness. So anything that would happen on a full moon will likely be magnified. So that could be lots of emotions, not only negative emotions, there could also be positive emotions. I've had many full moons where I was just brimming with joy, overflowing emotions that were happy. So we're not going to assume that every full moon has to bring some negative drama, although it tends to, because I always use the example of a dog when it gets wet. I love dogs. And when they get wet, they shake, 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 right? And if water represents emotion here, and it does in general, it's like at the full moon, we shake, shake, shake off the excess emotions that we don't process or deal with throughout the month. So this supermoon is in Aries, and one possible challenging aspect of this could bring a health impetus to focus on your health. So could that come through crisis? Yes, maybe, some sort of incident with your health or symptoms or something that maybe they were in the backdrop and then they just got up right in your face. something like that, something having to do with yourself, your self-esteem. A very positive aspect that could manifest with a full moon in Aries is amazing recognition and being thrown out into the limelight with it being all about you. You know, something coming to fruition, something coming to manifestation involving you and what you're doing and what your image is. And, you know, so many people will be cast out in the limelight in this supermoon time. It's really important to note that these transits, even though I give you the dates of them, we can often feel them days before. And the bigger transits, we can feel them weeks or months before sometimes. But the transits that are present this month, you could feel them before, within days before, or within days afterwards. I tend to feel things early. So most of the time when there's a challenging transit, before it comes, it's all right in front of me. And then by the time it actually comes, it's past already. The tension is past. You know, kind of like when you're, when a race car driver is going around a track. And when it gets to the point, if you've ever done like go-karts or anything, then you know you're like excited to go forward, and then you have to slow down because there's that turn and it's awkward, and then you can zoom for the straight track. So that's similar, you know, I liken it to that. So there's a lot of antagonistic energy at this time, but there's also a lot of chance for fruition, and there's a lot of pressure that's building that can facilitate your birthing of new things. The next transit that can be challenging is Mars and Pluto conjunct in Capricorn, and this occurs on October 19th. So when you have Mars, the god of war, and Pluto, the god of the underworld that rules birth, death, transformation, rebirth, atomic energy, get together, all of those traits will likely be magnified. Now, people can use that for good. People can have their ambitions soar during this transit and get thrown into a position, again, of recognition. There's a theme of this. But there could also be negative energy that brews to the point of verbal or even physical violence. You know, people will be on edge, and angers and tensions may run high. So just be really careful around this time. Don't push anything, you know, if there's a situation that could be sketchy, and just breathe. October 28th and 29th, Mars, again, is in an aspect with a planet that it doesn't work well with when it's in a square. So Mars square Uranus, especially in Aries, which is like this fiery catapult of energy, you know. And Aries rules Mars. So there's like, again, this combination of this very forceful, assertive energy. So just be really careful with your actions and other people's actions. And, you know, if things like, I went to the library the other day and I saw 2 security guards going up, like one called the other one, and I was like, that doesn't look like a good situation. I think I'm going to get out of this situation. Like that, you know, just kind of be looking around for things that don't look right or feel right, and distance yourself from them, and don't purposely put yourself in any situations that could be like that if you can help it. So those are the things that are most on my mind for the general transits for October. Again, definitely go to my website, anniehelpsyou.com, see what's new on my blog. I have a new blog on there for making powerful wishes for the new moon in Scorpio, specific for Scorpio wishes. You can advance your wishing power when you align the new moon wishes with the subjects of the sign that the new moon is in. So you can read more about that on my blog. And while you're there, definitely sign up for my free email newsletter, and you will get more details the month ahead about the upcoming transits, often some additional details than I give in the horoscopes. While you're there, if you are looking to expand your monetary earning potential or magnetic potential, check out my Unleash Your Money Magnet. So you can click on my programs and check out my other programs in my Unleash Your Money Magnet. So I hope that you have a wonderful month of October. If you want to become a spiritual warrior, then you can check out my Spiritual Warrior Weekends. I'm having a live and virtual option for that experience in November. So you can see more of that on my website. Hope you have a wonderful month. See you soon. Bye.